The November 5th general election is almost here, you guys. I'm Ben Dorr, Executive Director with Minnesota Gun Rights. And in your House District 21B, we're talking Worthington, Lakefield, Windham, Jackson area. In your District 21B, you have a state House of Representatives race coming up, and you have two candidates to pick from that are going to be on your November ballot. And I'm going to break down where these candidates stand on Second Amendment issues, who voted what way. We're going to make it short and sweet so you have all the facts when you go to the polls, either early voting or on November 5th. So join me for 2 seconds here. We'll do something fun. First person we want to highlight today is current State Representative Marj Fogelman. First thing you need to know about Marj is that she filled out her Minnesota Gun Rights candidate questionnaire 100% pro-gun. That means she answered correctly on questions like constitutional carry, stand your ground law, the Second Amendment Preservation Act. She says that she supports this legislation and wants to see it become law in the state of Minnesota. So she supports all of the major pro-gun laws that kind of make up the meat and potatoes of current pro-gun Second Amendment legislation that we would like to get passed to ensure freedom, make Minnesota a safer place, et cetera, et cetera. She opposes the major issue that the far left DFL is trying to pass in St. Paul right now, is a ban. They call it an assault weapons ban. It's not. It's a ban on hundreds of different rifles, hunting rifles, all different kinds. It's not just an AR-15 ban. We'll call it the AR-15 ban for short. She is a total opposer of the AR-15 ban. So that's a great answer. Gun owners need to know that. But more than that, what you need to know about Marj Fogelman, Representative Marj Fogelman, is that she currently has a 100% pro-gun record in her time in office. She voted no on red flag gun confiscation legislation. She voted no on universal background checks, what we call de facto statewide gun registration. She was a no vote on this stuff, which is fantastic. Very good news for gun owners. So Marj Fogelman gets an A rating from Minnesota Gun Rights. The only higher you could go is maybe an A+. So we'd like to see, if Marj makes it back up there, we'd like to see more action on Second Amendment legislation, make it more of a forefront issue for Representative Fogelman. It's a big time champion thing for sure. But having filled out our survey 100% and having a pro-gun voting record with no blemishes that we're aware of is a heck of a feat, and not many have that at the Capitol. So if you see Marj out on the campaign trail, thank her for being staunchly pro-gun. And again, go out and vote in favor of the Second Amendment on November 5th. Now, let's switch over to Johnny Wilson running to unseat Marj Fogelman. The first thing you need to know about John as the Democrat is that he completely refused to fill out Minnesota Gun Rights candidate questionnaire. So that's a big X, although I didn't put this option on the screen. And so we asked him questions like, will you oppose the AR-15 ban? No, he wouldn't answer the survey, would not communicate. Then another major gun control initiative that the left is trying to pass up there is a ban on 30-round magazines, 15-round magazines, and even 10-round magazines. They want to outlaw a bunch of pistols by making only 7-round magazines be legal, and they want to bring us back to the days of revolvers and the good old .357 Magnums. So we oppose any ban on standard capacity magazines, and Jon Wilson won't answer where he stands. And there's a 100% chance that John would have been a yes vote on the gun control that passed in 2023. There's only two ways that vote could go. Because Jon might, I'm certain he'll see this video, and he'll say, no, I would have opposed it. Here's how this works. If the Democrats in the House have enough votes to get gun control passed, they will allow people like Jon Wilson to vote no. They'll say, go ahead, Johnny, you can vote no on this bill because we don't need your vote. And so in that way, some of the outstate Democrats in Minnesota have been able to kind of pull off this pro-gun shtick because their votes haven't been needed to pass some of the gun control bills that have been voted on and passed in Minnesota. But there's a 1,000% chance that if the DFL in the state capitol needed Jon Wilson's vote to pass gun control, he'd be there and square, yes sir, yes ma'am, voting on this legislation. And that is why gun owners are convinced that Jon Wilson would be an enemy of the Second Amendment, along with many, many others in his caucus. And there are some in the Republican caucus as well. It's not a partisan thing. It's just that the radical left DFL are the ones who have been ramming through this legislation. And I know if you look at Jon Wilson's website, it's really interesting. He actually says on there that we should protect the Second Amendment. And then he says, but we should also pass common sense gun laws. And if that isn't the double speaking out of both sides of your mouths that we have been seeing for years from these people at the Capitol. Oh, we should ban AR-15s. We support the Second Amendment, but we also support common sense gun safety legislation. There is nothing the radical left doesn't call common sense gun safety legislation. There is no legislation that they won't pass while calling it pro-Second Amendment, right? Kamala, I've got a Glock. Also, I want to annihilate the Second Amendment. So Jon Wilson is cut from the same cloth, and that's why he gets a big F rating from Minnesota Gun Rights. And that's the information we have on current state representative Marj Fogelman and her opponent Jon Wilson on where they stand on gun rights issues, guys. Again, when you go out on November 5th, bring your friends, your family, bring everybody from Worthington and all the surrounding areas. Actually, Worthington's my old stomping grounds. I grew up just across the border in Iowa and spent many, 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 many days in Worthington growing up. So bring them all out and vote pro-gun.